Imagine an inner world like this. There's no negative self-talk, no internal hatred, no self-criticism, no punishing, self-shaming remarks. Just silence. It is possible. Of course, ideally you will also have positive self-talk, but usually you're not going to be able to silence your inner critic and heal the shameful patterns of the past and move instantly towards high self-esteem unless you're willing to look in the shadows, and that's exactly what we're doing in this video. You're going to be seeing a guided exercise from module 4 of my shadow work library, and that entire module is on shame and self-destruction, which is a very heavy module, but you know me, I'm not going to hold back. We're talking about addiction, self-hatred, self-destruction, and all of the worst things that we hide privately on the inside. And this particular video from module 4 of the shadow work library is a guided exercise to help you move from shame into self-empowerment in a very practical way. So I hope you enjoy, and if you've been enjoying this playlist so far, which you can find in the description, then consider joining me in the library to go much deeper than we can go on just a YouTube video. I'll see you in the library, and enjoy the video yourself. Get your journal ready, because we're going to be doing a deceptively simple exercise with very powerful outcomes if you have the willingness and have the courage to be honest with yourself, and also the patience to work in ambiguity. You're going to need a single page, maybe 20 minutes of your time, a pen, and the ability to draw 2 lines and write 3 words. You need the word negative, the word neutral, and the word positive, with 3 lines in between. Today we're going to be exploring how to turn negative self-talk into neutral self-talk into positive self-talk. It's a very simple concept. Ultimately, what we're going to be doing is a variety of examples of a phrase that we find to be a repeating phrase. For some people, this might be something like, I'm worthless, I'm stupid, I'm ugly, I'll never live up to anything, I can't do this. Whatever the negative framing might be, we'll bring it into the I am statement in the middle, which is detachment and discernment in the neutral no man's land between negativity and positivity, and where it's appropriate, we'll then take that further towards positivity. So an easy example might be, I'm ugly, there's negative self-talk, far left category. Middle category, you have the neutral zone, which is what exactly made you feel ugly today? Is it a feeling of being overweight? Is it a feeling of being underweight? Is it your skin breaking out? Is it a feeling of looking tired? The I am neutral statement, which doesn't need to have shame or negativity or positivity attached to it. For example, it could be, I am objectively overweight. I am objectively experiencing a breakout. I am tired today. I look tired today. That doesn't even need to be negative or positive. I look tired today. Neutral statement. Positive statement would then be the example of taking the I am and bringing in a positive flair. So I am, what have we got? We've got, I am, it's difficult for me. I'll be transparent. It's difficult for me doing this exercise because I don't experience this toxic shame negativity. So I'm having to step myself back multiple years. My default is neutral. My default statements, and these are actually in my version of the exercise, I've started with neutral statements because I don't have the negative statement. My actual baseline reality is neutral, and then I add positive or sometimes high level concept. I will allow myself to go into negative when it's appropriate, which is a bit of a next level concept, because if you don't have toxic shame, you can take negativity without being crushed by it. But the examples I put down for mine, I'll bring it this way, kind of messy. It's a really simple concept. Negative, neutral, positive. It depends on your particular triggers, your particular anxieties, your particular self-hating points. I wrote down 3 examples that I experience more or less every week in one way or another. Just a neutral statement. First statement for me, I am weaker than usual in today's workout. Neutral statement. Second neutral statement, I am less articulate than usual in today's video. It's just a moment of me, literally my internal self-talk of, I'm not speaking very well in today's video. Maybe a tint of negativity, but I'm not hating on myself. Same with the workout, I'm weaker than usual. Today I'm not so strong. Today I'm not as strong as I usually would be. I'm feeling a bit weak today. It's more detached, it's more stepped back, it's more it's not charged. Maybe there's a bit of negativity, maybe there's a bit of positivity, but there's also the potential to go in either direction, and we'll come to that final statement. I look tired today. Looking tired isn't necessarily automatically negative, and most people would say it's not automatically positive either. I start in the neutral zone, and the ability of this exercise is, it's very simple. I look tired today with a positive flair is, I look tired today, and that means that I should really focus on my sleep, and I'll look better tomorrow. Whatever it might be, whatever the standard might be. I am weaker than usual in today's workout, and then figuring out why that might be, a rational reason, and then a hopeful reason, adding a bit of healthy reparenting energy. I'm weaker than usual. Oh, it's because I've already trained 3 times this week. There's compassion or self-sympathy. I'm weaker than usual in today's workout. If I've got the energy to bring forwards, I can do this, and it's an action-based issue. The issue of these statements is that the thing, this is a tricky one. This is a moment in the course where it is tricky. The 3 examples that I've given, because I'm so rewired and automatically reframed, I can't give the example on the spot of what it would be like to have toxic shame. The trench that people experience, they automatically fall into of, let's imagine I am weaker than usual today, then means I am weak, pathetic, and a scrawny man who will never lift anything. It's so irrational and so out of my perception that I would talk to myself that way at this point that I literally can't access it. And someone might watch this and think, well, that must be nice for you. The reality is I didn't always experience this. I used to experience, maybe 10 years ago, very deep negative self-talk. And through exercises like this one, where I take the negativity, your negative statements, put 10 negative statements that you tend to experience based on your own wounds, your own triggers. I'm doing my life. Some people won't care. They just won't care about lifting weight. They won't care about being articulate in a video, and they won't care about looking tired. Those are 3 things that I gave as an example. They might not apply to you, and it's a bit of a tricky situation. Let me put this down, because I can't speak to everyone and their personal wounding points. Usually there's points around body image or success or attractiveness or whatever it might be. There are hundreds of possibilities, because your wounds are your wounds. You know your mind far better than I could. You know your inner critic. You know where your toxic shame, your unhealthy guilt, where all of that energy is condensed and constellated on that negative side of the spectrum. We take the negativity, we put it into the I am statement, the neutral zone in the middle, which for me is my baseline detached perspective of, I appear to be, I am, it seems that I'm noticing that, insert the blank. I don't make a value judgment right out the bat. I can't bring through an example, and maybe I should have planned for half an hour beforehand to be like, okay, you know what? This statement I need to try and figure out the toxic version of the statement to try and relate to you, so you'd get the example, but you're an intelligent person. You're an intelligent person, and you've got your own particular history. I know you can take this principle and roll with it. The I am statement in the middle gives you the potential to go either direction. The I am plus positivity is detached and discerning reality assessment plus some hopeful, life-giving, life-affirmative energy. The I am plus negativity is detached perspective plus a deathly contractive energy or an anxious energy. Next level perspective, there are times where it's appropriate for you to go into negativity, because that can be healthy inner critic. For example, this is really high level stuff. It's probably not appropriate for most people at the stage of this exercise, but I need to include it. Healthy inner critic, as we explored, taking the inner critic towards the inner ally. If you can have a moment where, let's say, I don't know, I'm weak in today's workout. Here we go. I'm weak in today's workout, and then the detached perspective is, oh, it's because I haven't been to the gym in 3 weeks. Healthy negativity, which is a strange statement, because obviously you can have toxic positivity. This is where people get delusional and grandiose. If we're going to do real shadow work, positive is not always positive, negative is not always negative. There can be a shadow side of either delusional positivity or toxic positivity is a thing. If you can see that that's a thing, then also positive negativity or life affirmative negativity can also be a thing. For a certain man or woman to have that moment where they go, I am weak in today's workout because I haven't been to the gym in 3 weeks and I'm being quite lazy here and that's not good enough. It's negative, it's judgmental, it's harsh, it's critical. The point is not going too far into it. I'm being lazy, I'm being avoidant. Doesn't need to go into, and I'm a piece of and no one will ever love me. I'm catching it before that point. I hope it's clear. I don't want you to go into toxic negativity, but I don't want you to be afraid. If this is the middle point of the I am neutrality, and the spectrum extends on both ends, that's what the 3 columns represent on your journal page. You need to have the ability to flexibly move between the lines, to know when it's appropriate to go either way. Most people will be so fixed in toxic negativity and negative self-talk that their healing arc is getting to the middle point, and then it becomes a baseline. That's my baseline right now, and actually, if I'm honest, I tend to be automatically reframing in almost a self-hypnotizing way in most instances. My internal process, if I try and tap into it now, let's go with the example of I look tired today. I might notice in the morning, I look tired today. That's a good thing for me to know. It's jagged. What would I say? I look tired today. I should hydrate. And it's immediate action. It's immediate action-based resolving the problem. I should hydrate, probably get a nap in today. Let's look after my skin. I'll make sure to scrub my face and do some self-care-y things just to rejuvenate myself. I'm very action-based, which I know isn't the default for most people, because if you don't see the possibility of changing something from an I am statement, if you don't feel like you've got agency in the world, you will collapse into a toxic shame state. I want you to feel like you have agency, that if something's not going the way that you want it, if your intentions aren't being followed through, you can take the neutral reality assessment, turn it into positivity, not just in your mind, not just in affirmation, but also in action, rather than going towards the negative shadow side, which will then initially be toxic thoughts or negative thoughts, negative self-talk, and then eventually it becomes a self-sabotaging behavior, which is the whole theme of this module. So much negative self-talk, when it's built up and when it's accumulated, it becomes a materialization in the form of addiction, in the form of bad choices, in the form of self-abuse in one way or another. The shifting of that timeline, the shifting of that energy towards more choices on the positive, more affirmations on the positive, grounded in neutral detached reality, which is something that a lot of spiritual practice tends to benefit from. You tend to have that ability to go, I mean, Buddhist meditation practices are pretty good for this, for the detached, witnessing awareness, the being awareness. If you're into meditation, which I recommend that you get into at least to some degree, it's not something I tend to focus on too much within my teaching online, but of course I've likewise benefited, not of course, but I've had years and years and years of meditation in different ways. It seems obvious that you would have this contemplative practice. If you do have a contemplative practice, you have even more capacity to be detached and discerning. The neutral zone is where I want you to live, with the ability to default towards the positive, and occasionally you can venture towards the negative and not feel rigidly bound in that negative self-talk. Write down 10 examples, turn it into the 10 neutral statements, and see for you what that would look like as the 10 positive statements. It's really simple, but if you run out of things, you figure out, I've only got 6. There's only 6 negative self-talk triggers, and they're 80-90% of what you tend to be hard on yourself with. You've then got 6 or 7 really easy things to pay attention to. You've got the main anchors. If you know that you always tend to hate on yourself because of body image or because of your finances or your dating success, and you've got certain triggering statements which you've unpacked because you look at the inner critic as the inner child abuser and all that knowledge and the theory from the previous lesson of that's not my voice to begin with, you have permission and power to turn it into the neutral zone, and maybe over a few weeks, a few months even if it takes that, you can start adding in the seeds of positivity and water them with your consciousness. They will grow over time. And as we'll explore later in the module, you also need to build high self-esteem through doing actually high self-esteem things. You can't bypass with affirmation. This exercise is powerful, but reality does matter. If your internal subjective reality is tilted towards negativity, you can tilt it towards positivity. And then the next stage, of course, is from the subjective to the objective. So you have fewer moments in that neutral zone where the objective life assessment has the possibility of going towards negativity. For example, the 3 examples I gave today: I'm a bit weak in the gym, I'm not speaking so strongly on the video, and I look a bit tired. I didn't give the example of I relapsed on my sobriety. I didn't give the example of I went and harmed a friend. I didn't give the example of I sabotaged my business. My character comes through in the things that I have as my neutral statements that could go towards negative self-talk. The blind spot for me is I can't even imagine that I would do certain very self-sabotaging behaviors because I've stacked so much integrity on being a generally positive, hopeful individual. Of course, I have my shadow, but there's so much stacked over here that even if I have a shadow swing, there's so much weight on this end that it can't swing all the way back over here. It kind of goes like this. Boom. Get like that, and I catch it before it gets too negative. I want you to be in that place. It feels very good on the inside. I'm not the ideal role model for having this all figured out, but I'd like to imagine that me attempting to articulate what I believe to be true, which is my default neutral baseline of detached reality perspective, which is maybe the result of 10 years of meditation and trauma work and whatever it might be. You can get there. You can get there. Negative to neutral to positive, the ability to move across the spectrum, but I want you to experience at least neutral self-talk before you go into positive self-talk. Avoid delusional, hyperinflated, toxic self-talk in the form of like toxic positivity, and also avoid the classic toxic negative self-talk. If you can experience this, you will experience a lot more peace, a lot more calm, and ultimately the ability to make better choices. So, hope you enjoyed the exercise. Fill out your page, go as long as you would like. Otherwise, I will see you on the next lesson. Thank you for joining me in the exercise, which still lives in my shadow work library journal. And if you want the fun to continue, or maybe it's not fun, but we are going to talk about how to heal repressed anger in a half-an-hour exclusive lecture, linked right up here in the shadow work series promotional playlist of honestly a frankly dizzying amount of free content. But go click over there. We'll talk about repressed anger and also look at things like toxic relationships and more things to do with your yet to be integrated shadow. I'll see you over here.